Hi, and welcome to ConfigMas Day 18, our month-long user group party. I am Amy.
And I'm Johan.
Johan, what are we talking about today?
Today we're diving into the Microsoft Endpoint Manager Configuration Manager Technical Preview 1912.
Yay! That's a lot of words, but I'm very excited.
TP 1912 for short.
Yes.
So we picked our highlights, and I'm so excited about this first feature. So 1912 has the ability of bootstrapping a sequence directly to the client agent. And there are basically three scenarios for this. One is we do a Windows Autopilot deployment or configuration of the device, and as part of that process, we install the config manager agent and it launches the sequence directly and run through the configuration. And that is basically the same type as the CMD scenario where you can run a sequence over the cloud management gateway for config manager if the machine is not on your network. But you can also do this on your network. So imagine that you just deploy Box, no matter how you want to do it, install the agent and immediately kicks off a sequence and start to install applications, configurations. But what it cannot do, it cannot be an OS deployment sequence. It has to be in without that step in it.
Okay.
So what I have here is a sequence I'm very proud of. Spent a lot of time with this one. It has two actions. One that creates a file in Windows 10, so I could see that it was actually starting. And the other one is just launching a command prompt using a little component from that I borrowed from MDT called Service UI, so I can interact with it for fun. So the important thing here, if you look at the deployment, is that I have deployed it to all provisioning devices. That's a very special collection new in 1912. The deployment ID TP1-2003 is also something we need to remember because that's how we call it from the client agent. So now I actually recorded this because it takes a good 5-6 minutes to run through the entire installation and nobody has time for that. So what I have here is I just copy down the client installation files. And then I'm going to run CCM setup exe with 4 million switches where I specify this particular deployment ID that I showed you guys together with the usual management point and site and what other stuff. So I'm starting the deployment and runs through the background. I will open up the log file. And since these are regular client MSI parameters, and that's something you can see if it's a / in the beginning, it's a parameter for CCM setup exe itself. If it's not, it's for the client MSI. So we will see that shortly. I'm pausing the log file, and you can see that it was passing those parameters to it. And shortly, I will also open up the client MSI log file that is being created at the same location. This one is more busy, so it might even show non-responding for a little while there, but after a while I can stop this one and search, and you will see that it did accept that parameter as well with the deployment ID for the sequence. Now this is connected to the registration process of the agent, and there are 3 log files you want to view to keep a track of that. So the first one will be location services that will show up here very, very shortly. It's one of the first log files that gets created. So here we have it, location services in about the middle. And what we're looking for in this one is that can the client actually locate the management point, assuming your boundary groups and boundaries and whatnot is correct. So here we see that it did find one and it reports the capability and version and things. The other log file we want to take a look at is the client ID manager startup log file, because in this one, we will be able to see that the client starts the whole registration process. So basically sending this information up to the management point. So now we can actually go to the server side and look in the MP registration manager log file. So program files, the MP location, the logs, and MP and registration manager. And here I'm simply looking for the same ID ending on 1F37, and you see now that the sequence kicks in automatically and opens my shiny service window or service UI command prompt. So that's it. That's how you connect the sequence to the installation of a agent, and I'm really happy for
Yeah,
getting
that's
that to
very
work.
exciting.
Yeah.
I know you had a hard time getting it going. I hope that you blog about it when you have some time so that other people can
Yeah.
maybe use your guide so that they can get it going
Yeah.
in their own lab.
Took a few attempts.
Yeah. Something that I found really interesting was the ability to go into the console, right-click a device, and collect the logs on the device.
Mm-hmm.
So if you right-click a device, as long as Config Manager sees that it's online, is probably the best way for it to work.
Yeah.
You'll go to Client Diagnostics and then pick Collect Client Logs. What I did notice is that it's not instant the first time. If you run it subsequently after that, then it tends to be faster for future logs. But then once you run it, you'll go to Start and Resource Explorer. You'll see a node called Diagnostic Files. So as you can see, nothing's in here yet. I didn't expect anything to be
quickly.
Yeah, to be in here yet. It does have to collect the logs and upload them to the server, and things have to happen. So I'm going to go to a device that I've already done it to and just right-click that one. And since I've already collected the log files, I'm not going to go through that step again. But I'm going to click on Resource Explorer. Diagnostic Files, you can see I've collected 2 logs at 2 different times. So you can open Support Center and view the log files in Support Center. You can open different log files to view in Support Center, by the way. What I meant to do was go to View File. So you can see it in File Explorer, so you can still use CMTrace to view logs. And as you can see, there was a little bit of structure here, so there's nothing in this one. Oh, there is stuff in here. First time it was empty when I was first looking through. Slow down. The first time it was empty when I was first looking through it, so I was surprised to see that there were more logs in it this time. So you can see the setup log as well.
That's
and
good.
Other. Yeah, so here's all of the client logs. So it does collect everything. That's why it takes so long, like on that other client, because there is a lot of stuff that you have to collect. That's all.
One cool little feature that was added in 1912 was the ability to use sequence variables to configure the user context for run command line actions and run PowerShell actions, meaning not having to specify that placeholder account on the action itself, but rather have variables set it and keeping them in the environment. So that's pretty neat if you have a lot of actions that you run. So
yeah. Speaking of variables, so there was a read-only test sequence variable for the sequence engine to be able to detect the secure boot state.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing here on this client, I'm setting up the network to make sure that this runs from the correct site server, that it doesn't accidentally try to reach out to current branch. And then I'm just opening Notepad. I'm going to put in a shiny little VB script that I stole from you that basically says, hey, dump out this read-only variable, what's the value of it? So then I save it in the root of X as a VB script.
yeah.
Nothing really shiny to say about that. And then I'm just going to close everything, although I probably should have left that window open. I'm going to kick off the sequence and allow the sequence engine to just run for a second. And then I'm going to open up that command window again, and then I will pull up the shiny script that I created. So I'm going to call on it right now. Again, it's in the root X. And as you can see, secure boot variable, it's enabled.
Yep.
So this is really helpful information, I think, like if you're running a sequence from a VM and you want to know if secure boot is enabled.
Yep.
That's something that I've run across a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very shiny.
So that was all for this time.
Yes.
Do evaluate this 1912 technical preview, and we hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you, guys.